70,000 Roman soldiers entered the field at Cannae on the morning of August 2nd, 216 BC. By afternoon, most of them were dead. Rome had never fielded an army this large, and Hannibal had never been more outnumbered. By the summer of 216, Rome had already lost 2 armies to Hannibal. The Senate's response was to raise the largest force in Roman history, roughly 86,000 men, and order them to destroy him. 2 consuls commanded the force. Paulus, the experienced general, was cautious. Varro, the populist, was not. On the day of the battle, command rotated to Varro, and Hannibal, who had spent the previous weeks choosing this ground deliberately, was counting on exactly that. The terrain was everything. Cannae sat on flat, open ground, ideal for the one thing Rome did better than anyone: mass infantry. The Romans would pack their legions deep, concentrate force at the center, and push through. It had worked for a century. More men, more weight, more discipline. Rome broke every enemy it had faced this way. Hannibal commanded approximately 50,000 men, Iberians, Gauls, Numidians, Libyans, against roughly 80,000 Romans. He was outnumbered nearly 2 to 1. What he had instead of numbers was a plan so elegant that military schools still teach it today. And it started with a lie. Hannibal deployed his weakest troops, the Spanish and Gallic infantry, at the very center of his line, in a convex arc bulging toward the Roman mass. His strongest soldiers, the heavy Libyan infantry, he positioned on both flanks. Held back, waiting. When the battle began, the Roman legions did exactly what Hannibal expected. They pushed into the center. The Carthaginian line bent, gave ground. The Romans pressed harder. From the Roman side, it looked like a breakthrough. The enemy center was giving way. Varro pressed forward. The legions compressed, packed tighter as they pushed into the narrowing space. On the flanks, Hannibal's Numidian cavalry tied up the Roman allied horse, keeping them occupied. On the left, his heavier Iberian and Gallic cavalry crashed directly into the Roman right flank cavalry. The allied cavalry broke and ran. The Iberian and Gallic horse didn't pursue. They wheeled across the battlefield toward the other side. In the center, what looked like success had become a problem. The legions had pushed so far forward and packed so tight they could barely swing their swords. And then Hannibal's Libyan infantry, fresh, disciplined, waiting all this time, pivoted inward. They struck the Roman flanks from both sides simultaneously. The consul Paulus, unhorsed and wounded, reportedly refused to flee. He fought on foot among his soldiers. Historians believe, though the exact accounts cannot be fully verified, that he sent a final message to Rome before he died. The encirclement was complete. 70,000 men surrounded. In the afternoon heat. No room to maneuver. No direction to break. What followed was not a battle. It was a slaughter. The Carthaginian soldiers worked inward from every direction. The Romans were so compressed that many suffocated before they were killed. Roman officers, according to accounts by Livy and Polybius, died alongside their men, including Paulus. The ancient sources disagree on exact figures, as they always do. Modern historians estimate Roman dead between 45,000 and 70,000. Carthaginian losses, approximately 5,500, in a single afternoon. News reached Rome the following day. Roman writers describe what followed as unprecedented panic, not grief, panic. The Senate briefly considered abandoning the city. Hannibal reportedly collected the gold finger rings of dead Roman knights and sent them to Carthage as proof of what had happened. Ancient sources claim he sent 3 bushels. The exact number cannot be verified, but the act was deliberate theater. Within weeks, several important Italian allies defected. Capua, the second city of Italy, switched sides. For the first time, it genuinely appeared that Rome's grip on the peninsula was breaking. His cavalry commander Hannibal reportedly urged him to march immediately. The account preserved by Livy has Hannibal saying that Hannibal knew how to win a victory, but not how to use one. Whether this exchange happened exactly as described, we cannot verify. But the question it raises is real. Hannibal did not march on Rome. The reasons remain genuinely contested among historians. He lacked siege equipment. His army needed resupply. He may have calculated that enough allied defections would force Rome to negotiate. We cannot know which factor weighed heaviest. Cannae entered military doctrine and never left. Every major military academy in the Western world teaches the double envelopment. The encirclement became the conceptual gold standard for how to destroy a larger force with a smaller one. In 1914, German General von Schlieffen explicitly modeled his strategic concept for the Western Front on Cannae. At Tannenberg, German forces encircled and destroyed an entire Russian army using a double envelopment. Schlieffen had studied Hannibal's blueprint. For Rome, Cannae did not end the war. What the battle revealed was something more durable. The Roman system could absorb losses that would have collapsed any other Mediterranean power. The Second Punic War continued for 14 more years. Rome raised new legions, restricted public mourning to keep morale from collapsing, refused to ransom prisoners in a direct message to Carthage about what kind of enemy Rome was, and continued fighting. The question Cannae poses isn't really about tactics. It's about systems. Rome lost the battle, catastrophically, but it never lost the war. And Hannibal, who won every major engagement he fought on Italian soil, never achieved what the victory at Cannae should have delivered. Brilliant tactics inside a system you cannot break will not win a war. That was Cannae's lesson. And the Romans were the ones who learned it. If you came here for this kind of history, grounded, serious, without the distortion, there's more of it. Subscribe, and it will find you. History Republic is built on the support of people who believe serious historical storytelling deserves to exist. If that's you, membership details are in the description.